What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sweet and Savory Barbecue. My name is Jamie Trader. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit different with our ribs. We're going to be doing a breakfast style ribs on our Rec Tec pellet grill. Let's get started. So I'm starting with some baby back ribs. Just picked them up at the local grocery store. I'm going to bust them out of the packaging. I'm actually taking inspiration from Mark Williams over at Swine Barbecue. I've heard that he's made sausage seasoning ribs. So we're going to kind of take that to a different level. We're going to go full-on breakfast style. First thing I'm going to do is there's a membrane on the back of these ribs. Baby backs, it's pretty easy to get them off. We're just going to kind of slip our thumb underneath that membrane. You can use a knife to kind of peel it up if you need to. Get that membrane off of there. These got a little slit from where I cut them, but that's okay. All right, there's one rack done. We'll get this membrane off the second rack. We're just going to take a look at these. We're going to do a light trim, even them out. You can see how this particular rack right here, it's kind of thin. Gonna cut that off, even it out. The reason I'm choosing the baby backs for this cook, a lot of times you see me cook spares, is the baby backs are a little bit leaner of a rib. You can see they actually have loin meat right here on the top. I'm gonna knock this edge off here. Just kind of square them up. But I feel like if I'm making a breakfast style rib, maybe a little bit leaner might be a little bit better. Not so heavy. But you could do this with a spare, it'd be great. All right, let's see what the second rack's looking like. A little bit of hanging stuff here. Cut that off. This edge down here is kind of thin, so we're just going to kind of follow along that bone. That little hanging piece there looks pretty good. Get some seasoning on these ribs. All right, so we're going to start with the backside. And since we're going to be using sausage seasoning, I think they need a little bit of a binder. So what I've got here, sticking with the breakfast theme, a little bit of orange juice. And just wet them down a little bit. So for the sausage seasoning, you can use whatever you want. We're using Malcolm's country sausage seasoning. This is the mild version. If you want it spicy, you can make it spicy. That's fine. Just going to kind of dust these backside of these ribs with that sausage seasoning. It's got some pepper flakes in there. It smells really good. Give that a nice little pat in. Get them flipped over. Some of that orange juice. You can smell the sage in there. It smells really good. Orange juice as our binder. And then a good dose of that sausage seasoning. You probably see in there it's got some pepper flakes, some more coarse seasonings. Not a whole heck of a lot of sugar. But we're going to add a little touch of sweetness at the end. I'll show you how we do that. We'll let these hang out for about 30 minutes while we get our Rec Tec fired up. In our Rec Tec pellet grill today, we're running a blend of oak and royal oak charcoal pellets. We're going to run it at 275 degrees. You can cook this on any grill. Just make sure you're running at 275. Our pellet grill is running at 275 degrees now. It's time to get these ribs on. You want to make sure you're laying these ribs just like you want them to cook. One there, put the second one right there. We're gonna let these run unwrapped the entire time until they're done. So we're at the 2-hour mark on our ribs. They're looking awesome. The rub is stuck. So what I've got here is just some of that same orange juice we used as the binder. Just gonna squirt some of that on there. Kind of keep them from drying out too bad. Start building some flavor as well. So our ribs have been on for a total of 3 hours now. They're looking great. Let's go ahead and get an internal temperature on them, see where they're working. We're about 160 on that rack, about 175 on this back one. Let them keep on going. We're actually going to go ahead and hit them with a little bit more of that orange juice, help build some of that flavor still. I think this will be our last little spritz of that until they're done. Get our lid closed back up and let them finish rocking and rolling. All right, y'all, we are almost 5 hours in. We're about 4 hours and 45 minutes. Let's check out this rack. It was almost done earlier. See, it's super tender. Getting around 200, 201, 202. Let's go ahead and get this one off. We'll get it over to the cutting board. Let it hang out though. But look at that, y'all. That's an awesome looking rack of ribs. I can't wait to try them. So we've got our ribs off. You can see I've got them on this wire rack. They're looking fantastic. You can see all those spices from that sausage seasoning. So what we're going to do to finish these off, we're going to flip them to the back side. And what I've got, just some maple syrup. Simple maple syrup, a little bit on the back side. This is going to add a touch of sweetness to these savory ribs. I think it's going to taste really good. More maple syrup on this other rack. Flip them on over. We're going to brush the top side. All right, we're going to get these back on the grill. Let them sit there for about 15 minutes. And these ribs are done now. You know, we glazed them for about 15 minutes. Look at that. Nice and shiny. Let's cut into them. I'm excited to try these. I'll flip them over here, get to the back side, go in between each bone. Feeling super tender. Let's get these guys flipped over. Give them the old switcheroo. Get these guys cut up. All right, let's get this rack flipped over. Now it's time for the moment of truth. We get to see how these sausage seasoning breakfast style ribs taste. They're packed full of juice. Feeling nice and tender. Oh my goodness. That's exactly what I envisioned for these ribs. That savory breakfast sausage flavor. A little bit of sweetness from that maple syrup. That would be good, I think, on just about any cut of pork. Perfectly tender. A little bit of spice from the peppers. A good smoke flavor that Rec Tec did its job. Man, to me, these would be perfect for, like, let's say during football season. You got those early international games. They're on at like 9:30. Man, get up early. Throw these on, especially if you're running a pellet grill. You can throw them on and go back to sleep for a little bit. You don't have to wrap them. You literally just throw them on, cook them till they're done. Hit them with a little maple syrup. I'm gonna try one out of this rack too, just to make sure they're both good. Man, y'all gotta try these. If you don't have Malcolm seasoning, just Google a perfect sausage seasoning blend that you'd mix for breakfast sausage. That's what you want, like a country sausage recipe. I'm telling y'all, that's all right. Thank y'all for hanging out with us today. We hope you enjoyed this recipe. Make sure you give it a shot, especially, like I said, for those early morning football games or even college football. That starts at noon. That could be a perfect brunch thing. Thank y'all for hanging out with us again. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you don't miss our next ones, and we'll see y'all next time.